after our divorce. She went around telling everyone that the child wasn't mine. Now that she's broke, she's begging for child support. I told her to go ask the real father. Hi, Reddit. I'm 32. I was 22 when my son Jacob was born, or at least that's what I believed. My ex-wife Lauren and I met back in college. She had this magnetic presence, effortlessly drawing attention whenever she entered a room. We were young and reckless. But when she got pregnant during our final semester, I did what seemed right at the time. We had a small courthouse wedding with a handful of friends, and I started pulling night shifts to support the family while she stayed home to care for Jacob. Those early years were tough. Money was always stretched thin, and I was constantly worn out. But every time I walked through the door and saw Jacob's sleepy grin, or felt his tiny hand clutch mine, it made the exhaustion worthwhile. He looked just like me. Same brown eyes, the same dimples, and that stubborn cowlick in his hair. I never doubted for a second that he was my son. But after Jacob turned 3, Lauren began drifting away. She complained that I was always tired, boring, and predictable. I didn't realize how distant she'd become until one night. Around 1 a.m., I overheard her whispering in the hallway. Her phone lit up with a name I didn't know. Just a single letter, D. When I confronted her, she just laughed and accused me of paranoia. A month later, without any warning, she packed a few bags while I was at work and sent me a text. I'm done. I need to live my life. She moved in with some guy. Turns out, D was Damon, her high school boyfriend she'd reconnected with on Facebook. Almost immediately, she filed for divorce and demanded full custody of Jacob. I fought back fiercely. The court granted us shared custody, which wasn't perfect, but at least I got to see him on weekends. Those times were precious. Legos scattered everywhere, bowls of cereal in front of cartoons, and the quiet moments when he'd fall asleep curled up on my chest. Then came the worst blow. During a nasty custody battle about where Jacob would go to school, Lauren dropped a bombshell. She claimed Jacob wasn't my biological son, not legally or emotionally. She told the court flat out that I had no biological connection to him. Sitting in that courtroom, hearing her say Jacob is not his biological child, I felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. I was numb, couldn't even fathom how to tell Jacob. The judge ordered a paternity test. I spent days waiting, feeling like I was awaiting a death sentence. Then the result arrived. 0% chance I was a father. I stared at the paper like it was written in a foreign language. I wasn't Jacob's dad, not even close. I didn't lose control in court. I kept my composure. But once I got home, I punched a hole in the wall and collapsed on the floor, sobbing harder than I ever had before. Not for Lauren, but for Jacob, my son, who suddenly wasn't mine. Everything changed after that. I lost all legal rights. The shared custody agreement ended immediately. I asked Lauren if I could at least see Jacob occasionally, maybe just to say goodbye, but she said it was too confusing for him and blocked my number. Weeks later, she moved out of state with Damon. I tried to move on. Therapy helped. Time helped. I slowly rebuilt my life. Got a better job, traveled a bit, and even dated, though trusting was difficult. I never contacted Lauren again. I didn't want to. Then, nearly 4 years later, out of the blue, she messaged me. At first, it was polite. Hey, it's been a long time. I wanted to talk. I ignored it. Then she followed up. I really need your help. I'm in a tough spot. Curiosity finally got the better of me, and I replied, What do you want, Lauren? She sent me a long message explaining that Damon had left her. No job, no support. She was living with her aunt and barely getting by. And then she asked if I'd consider helping with child support for Jacob. I read that message 3 times. Child support. For the kid she swore wasn't mine. The child she ripped away from me after years of lies. Now she wanted money. I responded with one sentence. Try the real dad. She didn't take it well. She messaged back, calling me cruel and immature, saying I was the only real father Jacob had ever known, how money was tight, and that I shouldn't punish Jacob for her mistakes. That's when it hit me. The audacity of someone who cut me out of their son's life the moment it suited her, denied me a farewell, blocked me for years, and now that her life fell apart, suddenly I was dad again. So I told her the truth. You made your choice. You burned every bridge when you told the court I wasn't Jacob's father. You wanted to win, and you did. But don't come crawling back now. Then I blocked her. That night, I opened an old photo album I kept hidden away. Pictures of Jacob with chocolate smeared all over his face. The Father's Day card he'd drawn in crayon. Best dad ever. His tiny handprints painted in bright colors. I sat there for what felt like hours, gazing at that little boy who meant everything to me. The boy who called me daddy. The boy I would have given my life for without hesitation. My love for him never faded. I just wasn't allowed to show it anymore. Lauren's betrayal was more than just a lie. It was the theft of a bond that could have lasted forever. But I've come to understand something important. Being a father isn't only about biology. It's about love, dedication, and sacrifice. And she stole all of that from me. So no, I'm not about to send her a check. Let the real father step up, if he even knew he existed, because I've already paid the highest price. A few weeks after I cut her off, I thought that chapter was closed. Then a letter arrived. Simple, plain white envelope. No return address. The handwriting was familiar. It was Jacob's. Sloppy, a little messy, like when he was 6 years old, but grown up enough to show he wrote himself now. My heart tightened. Inside was a folded sheet from a notebook. Dear Matt, Mom says you're not my real dad, but I remember you. I remember pancakes on Saturday mornings. I remember your old truck and the songs you used to sing at the top of your lungs. I remember falling asleep on the couch and waking up in your arms. I remember you. If I'm not your kid, why do I feel like I am? I asked Mom, and she said you didn't want to be part of my life anymore, that you were done. But I don't believe that. I found your name on one of my old school papers and looked you up on the library computer. That's how I found your address. If you don't want to see me, that's okay. I just want to say I'm sorry for whatever happened. I still think of you as my dad. Love, Jacob. I gripped the letter tightly, tears streaming down my face for the first time in years. My hands trembled so much I nearly dropped it. She had told him I didn't want him. She told him I walked away. To betray me was one thing, but to lie to a child, to twist his love and confusion into a weapon for control, that was something far darker, something cruel beyond words. That night, sleep eluded me. I read that letter over and over, each sentence carving deeper into my soul. At the bottom, Jacob had scribbled a return address. I recognized the street, Lauren's aunt's house, about 2 hours away. That's when I made my decision. The following Saturday, I drove there without warning. No calls, no texts, just a small bag filled with some of Jacob's favorite things I kept boxed up all these years. A photo of us at the zoo, his beloved dinosaur toy, the crayon-scrawled Father's Day card. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I knew I couldn't leave things as they were. Pulling up, I spotted a kid shooting hoops in the driveway. Slimmer and taller than I remembered, hair longer, but those same wide brown eyes locked on me in disbelief. He dropped the ball. Matt, I said with a nod. He didn't speak at first. Instead, he ran like a bullet toward me and threw his arms around me. I held him tightly for a long moment. Eventually, Lauren appeared, looking worn down, defeated, older and tired in a way that no amount of rest could fix. Jacob, go inside for a minute, she said softly. He obeyed but kept glancing back like he was scared I might vanish again. Lauren crossed her arms. I didn't know he wrote to you. Yeah, I replied, steadying my voice. That's what happens when you lie to a kid. They grow up and start asking questions. She didn't argue. Maybe she knew she had no defense. I made a lot of mistakes, she said quietly. No, I answered firmly. Missing a birthday is a mistake. What you did wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. A cruel, deliberate one. You stole 4 years from both of us. She looked away, tears brimming in her eyes. I thought Damon was the one. And when he wasn't, I didn't know how to fix it. So I blamed you. Silence filled the space between us. You denied being his father when it was convenient, I said. And now that things are hard, you want me back in his life, but only because of what I can provide. But this isn't about you anymore. It's about him. Lauren nodded, swallowing hard. I'm not going to write you a check, I told her, but I will be in Jacob's life again, whether you like it or not. He wants me here. You can't deny him that anymore. Lauren wiped her eyes, barely holding herself together. I don't have the strength to fight you. You never did, I said as I walked toward the house. Since that day, things have slowly been healing. I'm not trying to make up for the lost years, but I'm there every weekend now. We video call during the week, go to ball games, science fairs, and have late-night talks about school, girls, and life. Jacob is older now, and he knows the truth. I never sugarcoated it, but I didn't speak ill of Lauren either. I just told him, I always wanted you. I never left you. I was kept away. That was enough for him. As for Lauren, she's still figuring things out. I don't hate her. I can't afford that. Hate steals too much from a person. But I'll never trust her again. This isn't a perfect story. There's still pain and empty spaces that can't be filled. But what matters most is that Jacob knows who has always been on his side. He might not share my blood, but he will forever be my son.